He is the most powerful malevolent Lord Patriarch in the world. He was heavily injured and on the brink of death, left with only 3 days of life. At this moment, he is not only under attack by tens of thousands of experts from the righteous path. Even the 9 major villain disciples he has painstakingly cultivated. They are also constantly planning to deceive their masters and annihilate their ancestors. After leaving the sect, the elder disciple Zenhale founded the Abyssal Cult, with thousands of followers. He is known as the Flame Emperor. The second disciple Roderick Yu has become the dreaded Sword Demon, who ruthlessly kills at a moment's notice. The sixth disciple Astrid Yi. She is the Empress of Moonlight Palace, also known as the Jade-Faced Azura, who is revered by many female cultivators. The seventh disciple, YSC, has a vast intelligence network that spreads throughout the world. He has instigated major wars using schemes to sow discord. The massive wars have resulted in countless casualties. The eighth disciple, Great Flo Chu, achieved the title of Evil King in just a few years after descending from the mountain. The ninth disciple, Kite Ci, entered the latest. He is also one of the disciples who still have some conscience. Lu Zhou slowly opened his eyes. Fragmented images appeared in his mind. In his previous life, he was a senior executive. Now, he has crossed over into the body of Patriarch Skypath Ji of the demonic sect. He learned this through his memories. A month ago, the top 10 experts of the renowned faction, the Righteous Path, set a trap and besieged Malevolent Lord Patriarch. Skypath Ji fought against 10 opponents alone, and the battle ended in a draw, resulting in serious injuries. Nowadays, the Righteous Path faces a strong enemy army at their doorstep, preparing to launch a fierce attack on their stronghold. Unfortunately, he has lived for nearly 1,000 years, which is almost the lifespan limit for a cultivator. As he grows older, his deterrence power diminishes as well. 9 disciples consecutively defected, leaving 5 people. His authority faced a great challenge. Thinking about this, Lu Zhou couldn't laugh or cry. He is now extremely weak. Just as he was trying to get up, he sat back down. Several people outside the pavilion saw the master wake up and quickly approached. The fourth disciple, Shirin Ming, reported the current situation. The masters of the Righteous Path will break through the defense barrier in no time. The third disciple, Mosheng Duan, frowned. He said he wanted to go out to find the eldest brother for help. Considering the bond between master and disciples, he wouldn't ignore it. The fifth disciple, Lunalite, also came up with an idea. He suggested finding the 7th junior brother. Not only is he shrewd, but he also dared to silence the Dark Web Sect master. Lu Zhou interrupted their conversation. The barrier at Golden Pavilion Mountain is strong enough to last for a while. Although Lu Zhou was extremely anxious, he still forced himself to remain calm and scolded the group of people. He cannot reveal the secret that his cultivation level has already been exposed. Otherwise, there is no need to wait for the Righteous Path to kill him. These 4 disciples will take his life first. Let's all disperse. I have a plan to deal with the enemy. 4 disciples left here after hearing this. At this moment, Lu Zhou finally breathed a sigh of relief. He had no plan to retreat at all. He just wanted to be quiet. For white-eyed wolves that could pounce over at any moment. Plus the countless cultivators of the Righteous Path outside, while Lu Zhou only had an old body that was barely able to move. Just as he was cursing in despair, suddenly the system's voice came. Target detected, mission accomplished. It took 1,000 years to complete the task of passing on the inheritance. The merit system is officially activated. At the words, Lu Zhou's heart trembled. He suddenly understood why Skypath Ji went through so much trouble. It's really a pity to have taught 9 disciples. He worked hard all his life to make wedding clothes for others. Trigger the main quest to retreat from the enemy. Detecting that the host is too weak, rewarding 1 beginner's gift package. Do you want to open it? Lu Zhou is very satisfied with this series of prompts. Obtained 1 reversal card, which can recover a portion of health. 3 peak state cards. Each use grants Skypath Ji's peak state for 30 minutes. 5 fatal block cards. The passive effect allows the host to block 5 fatal blows. Lu Zhou almost without much thought clicked the button to follow this channel, and then turned on the reminder function. He took out the reversal card with a slight movement of his mind. In the blink of an eye, the surrounding bushes and trees' vitality turned into streams of energy, rapidly flowing into his body. At the same time, the third brother explained in amazement at the incredible energy. Shifu indeed has stronger skills that he hasn't taught us. Little 9, Shifu usually dotes on you the most. What technique is this energy fluctuation? Kite Ci looked puzzled at the words. How would I know? His old man is inscrutable. At this moment, the voice of the righteous path cultivator outside the barrier could be heard. Let the people inside come out and meet their death. It is said that Jifeng Zhou, the elder's disciple of Sky Sword Sect, recently broke through to the divine court stage, just entering. He is not even worthy to be the opponent of the youngest sister in a one-on-one battle. Unfortunately, they have the numbers on their side. While these people are not to be feared, the real challenge lies with those 10 top experts. But let me say something rebellious. If the 4 of us want to escape, who can stop us? Hearing this, Kite Ci was a little angry. Senior brother, senior sister, have you really never thought about fighting side by side with Shifu? Lunalight replied lightly. The youngest sister, you started practicing late. There are many things that you don't understand. At the same time, Lu Zhou has been researching the system. After using the reversal card, he feels revitalized all over. Remaining life expectancy has been restored to 313 days. However, for him, it is far from enough. He must reverse to a younger state. He finds it unbearable to look elderly. After a moment of contemplation, he slowly walked out of the pavilion. A deafening roar rang out. Golden Pavilion Mountain trembled along with it. 4 disciples appeared in front with a brush sound. They were surprised to see Lu Zhou standing straight. Mosheng Ren, who was standing on the side, took the initiative to speak, requesting a battle with a Shifu disciple. He vowed to defeat him without leaving a piece of armor. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou's gaze sharpened. Mosheng Ren's heart trembled at the sight. He couldn't help but lower his head. I already have a strategy to retreat from the enemy. Follow me outside, and let's face the battle together. Lu Zhou finished speaking and strode towards the formation. At this moment, thousands of righteous individuals have gathered at Golden Pavilion Mountain. They have organized themselves to fully activate the Great Mountain Defense Formation. The malevolent lords of Golden Pavilion Mountain are listening. You have been surrounded. Come out and meet your doom quickly. The shouting voice kept echoing in this corner of the world. Lu Zhou stopped near the barrier and remained calm, watching the outside cultivators without a word. The 4th disciple Shirin Ming saw this scene, feeling puzzled as to why they didn't continue moving forward. At this moment, Master of Sky Sword Sect Chanfeng Luo outside chuckled. After not meeting for a month, Malevolent Lord Patriarch seemed to have gotten younger. Lu Zhou pretended to be calm and scolded. Chanfeng Luo, you've got some nerve. Stop pretending. Surrender and submit obediently. The righteous path will leave you with a complete corpse. Jifeng Zhou spoke loudly on the ground. The 4 of you should be this old guy's disciples. I'll give you a chance to repent and join us in the righteous path to kill him. Upon hearing this, Shirin Ming disdainfully gave him a glance. So noisy. Master, disciple requests a battle. I can't wait to skin this arrogant brat alive. Lu Zhou raised his hand and replied. No need. A prestigious and righteous sect like ours would never give you the opportunity for a one-on-one battle. Do not be moved by what's below. Chanfeng Luo in the sky continued to shout. Who doesn't know that the 9 villain disciples of the Golden Pavilion Mountain have committed numerous evil deeds? Everyone must be executed. Today, the masters of the righteous path are joining forces to attack you all. This is also your malevolent lord's own fault. You can't blame others. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou refuted sternly. It is right or wrong, I have my own judgment. Even if my disciple does something wrong, I will personally punish them. It's none of your business to meddle. Upon hearing this, Chanfeng Luo burst into laughter. Old man, you really have a sense of humor. Can you control elder disciples? Then hail you leading the abyssal cult to swallow up other sects? Also, the princess of Flame Dynasty in the Western Realm was kidnapped. Is it because of your second disciple Roderick you? Helpless, Lu Zhou could only reluctantly respond. Yes. Chanfeng Luo became more and more enthusiastic as he spoke. 30,000 cultivators died in the Northern Realm. Was it because of your seventh disciple's instigation of discord? Since you admitted to it, it's clear that you failed to discipline your disciple properly. Do you have anything else to say? At this moment, Lu Zhou's eyes were shining as he replied. The Western Realm is indeed a different race. The Northern Realm is also a different race, showing sympathy and pity towards different races. Their hearts can be killed. Upon hearing this, Chanfeng Luo's face turned red with anger. He stopped arguing and said, Old Malevolent Lord, let's see how long you can pretend. Face my sword. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou strode out of the barrier. Very well, let me see your skills, he said. The following disciples were secretly pleased to see this scene. It's good to let these people test out Shifu's bottom line. Chanfeng Luo immediately glinted into the air. The swords on his body spun in the air, combining into a huge long sword. Lu Zhou appeared calm on the surface, but was actually quite anxious. He kept staring at the prop card on the panel. At the same time, he also realized that the suspicion of the 4 villain disciples was growing heavier. Trigger the side quest. People's hearts are unpredictable. Make the villain disciples reveal their true colors. At this moment, Chanfeng Luo's long sword power gathered completely. Prepare to die, he shouted, pointing towards the opponent. Mosheng Ren and Lunalight frowned. That old guy can't die. If he dies, those cultivation techniques and weapons will disappear with him. Just as the giant sword was about to strike, the two determined individuals attacked the sword at the same time. The astral wind they stirred up knocked the sword off course and hit the barrier. Lu Zhou immediately turned around and ran back to the barrier. Everyone saw this scene and felt quite embarrassed. Thousands of cultivators all started laughing. Chanfeng Luo looked down from above and sarcastically said, So this is your strategy. Truly eye-opening. The master of Orthodox Tao Sect joined in with mockery. Surprisingly, Malevolent Lord Ji had a few disciples to protect him. Truly a rare sight in the world. Lu Zhou didn't pay attention to their words. He once again looked at the 3 pinnacle experience cards, totaling 1.5 hours. This meant that once used, he had to resolve things quickly. But he must first secure the inner before dealing with external matters. If these villain disciples are not kept in line, once the time is up, he will be in crisis again. Thinking of this, his voice couldn't help but rise. Mosheng Ren, you are so daring. Who gave you permission to meddle in my affairs? Mosheng Ren's face slightly changed upon hearing this. He quickly knelt down and said, I am also worried about Shifu's safety. At this moment, Shirin Ming chuckled and said, There's no need for Shifu to do this. It should be enough to go through such hardships. The third senior brother, please get up. Upon hearing this, Mosheng Ren's respectful expression disappeared from his face. He slowly stood up and said, It's already this time. These group of villain disciples have already guessed that he is barely holding on, from Lu Zhou's embarrassed appearance just now. Master, give up. As long as you pass on the complete cultivation technique and weapons to us, your disciples will definitely do their best to take you away today. Lu Zhou said nothing upon hearing this. After a moment, he spoke slowly. And what about you, Xiao Jiu? Master, I dare not. Kite Ci knelt down with a thud. Upon completing the side quest, the reward is the Eye of Truth. The effect is permanent. Lu Zhou was momentarily stunned upon hearing the prompt. Then, a special cue appeared before his eyes. Kite Ci's loyalty is at 60%. Shirin Ming's loyalty is increasing. Loyalty is at 15%. Mosheng Ren's loyalty is at 23%. Lunalight's loyalty is at 35%. When loyalty is below 0, one will betray the clan and become an enemy. When it is above 80, the likelihood of betrayal is minimal. The continuous decrease in loyalty of the 3 villain disciples was expected. The rising trend of Kite Ci was a bit surprising. Lu Zhou deliberately said, "If that's the case, there's no need for me to continue pretending. The master is indeed injured. But this does not mean you can rebel against the master." He then crushed the Pinnacle Experience card after speaking. A powerful surge of astral wind rolled out in an instant. The 3 of them were impacted by the force. Immediately, they spat out blood and flew out backwards. Little Kite widened his eyes in disbelief, not daring to believe all of this. It was as if the whole world had suddenly quieted down. The moment the 3 of them fell to the ground, they quickly rolled and knelt on the ground, shouting in unison, "Disciple knows my mistake." Lu Zhou didn't look at them. He took a deep breath and muttered to himself, "The feeling of being in peak condition is really great. It's as if everything is within his control. Everyone in front of him has turned into ants. He can crush them with just a light flick of his fingers." With Lu Zhou using the secret technique, he entered the peak state of Skypath Ji. Centered around him, an immensely powerful astral wind burst forth in an instant. The 3 villain disciples were instantly shaken and spat out blood from their mouths. Next, the astral wind burst out and soared straight into the sky. The barrier that was originally on the verge of collapse shattered inch by inch. The 10 top martial artists from the righteous sects glared in disbelief. Wasn't he injured? How could he still emit such powerful astral chi? The cultivator, who was mocking Lu Zhou earlier, now couldn't stop his legs from trembling. 3 villain disciples realized what was happening. They hastily knelt on the ground and shouted in unison, "Disciple knows his mistake." Lu Zhou coldly stared at them. "You have defied the master. Heavy punishment." With that, a golden light appeared at his fingertips. With a bang, several people flew directly into a distant mountain peak. "I'll be back to deal with you," Lu Zhou observed for a moment. There are 29 minutes left. It was just a matter of moments before he taught a lesson to the 3 villain disciples. The rest are the thousands of cultivators and the top 10 experts from the righteous sects. "Let me see. Show me what progress you have made in this past month." As Lu Zhou's voice fell, he immediately gathered his strength and charged into the air. 100 Calamities Abyss. Dharma Body. With a loud shout from him, a Dharma body surrounded by golden light appeared around him. Every time the 8 leaves golden lotus below rotates, it produces a burst of astral wind. Chanfeng Luo saw the situation and quickly called on other experts to help block it. After a moment, a city wall formed by 10 Dharma bodies also appeared in the center of the battlefield. The area within 100 miles is all illuminated by the 10 Dharma bodies. Other cultivators quickly retreated and hid behind the Dharma bodies. Even so, some weaker individuals were severely injured because they did not retreat in time. Upon seeing the situation, Lu Zhou coldly snorted and said, "Do you like using a sword? Well, I too use a sword." "Heaven's favor is flawed," Lu Zhou said. Between his index finger and middle finger, he condensed a dazzling long sword. Mosheng Ren on the ground instinctively lifted his head. Suddenly, his whole body shook violently, because he recognized it. This is one of the most powerful moves of the ultimate of heaven. Over the years, he has been diligently practicing sword technique in order to perfect the ultimate of heaven cultivation. But unfortunately, Skypath Ji has been reluctant to teach him this final sword technique. It is unexpected to encounter it in this situation. At this moment, the 3 individuals realized how wrong they were. Shifu is not only able to easily perform Dharma body, but can also perform heaven's favor is flawed. Even scarier is that under the influence of Dharma body, the power of heaven's favor is flawed will double. Chanfeng Luo naturally also knows this. He hurriedly shouted for other experts to retreat quickly. "If we don't retreat now, you and I will definitely suffer serious injuries. I really didn't expect that old thief's strength to be even stronger than before. At this moment, Lu Zhou's figure is suspended in front of the Dharma body, as if the two have merged into one. Then he instantly wielded the sword and unleashed a powerful sword light. From top to bottom, it slashed into the crowd. The cultivator who couldn't dodge in time was immediately cut in half. Then, with a loud bang, the sword aura split mountains, rivers, and lakes wherever it passed. The 10 top experts of the righteous faction had already dodged to the side. 1 month ago, although the old malevolent lord could use the Dharma body to take on 10 opponents, he was unlikely to unleash other powerful moves. He is now using his ultimate move at all costs. The key is that the old malevolent lord's expression still looks very relaxed. Aware of the seriousness of the problem, they felt a sense of fear rising in their hearts. Yes, very relaxed. Lu Zhou found out that the Pinnacle Experience card truly lives up to the name. Pinnacle Experience. Every time he squanders his abilities, his energy levels will instantly reach their peak again. Heaven's favor is flawed, slaughtered hundreds of lives. Cultivator frightened those small fry to the point of scattering their souls in panic and immediately fled. Lu Zhou did not stop them because his target was locked onto the top 10 experts. You want to leave first? Unfortunately, too slow. Before the words even finished, he disappeared like lightning in the same spot. Only traces of his figure were left in midair. Several villain disciples were dumbfounded. This is the great divine technique Glint, capable of appearing at a certain location in an extremely rapid time. It is impeccable for both pursuit and escape. The only downside is that it excessively consumes vital chi. It's over. The third senior brother, let's escape quickly. Master is using powerful moves one after another. I didn't expect him to still be able to use such a great divine technique. Clearly, Shifu has such strong abilities. Why does he still have to hide them? Isn't this misleading others? Senior brother and senior sister, listen to my advice, stay honestly here. Master has a great divine technique that you cannot escape from. Upon hearing Kite C's words, despair spread in the hearts of the 3 individuals. At the same time, Chanfeng Luo was traveling against the wind, swiftly shuttling through the forest. Occasionally, he looked back, only to see no one following. Finally, he breathed a sigh of relief. However, at this moment, he suddenly felt a chill creeping up his back. Then a familiar voice sounded. I have been waiting for you for a while. Why did you only just arrive? See the wolf-like appearance of the other party. Lu Zhou chuckled. Where's your arrogance from just now? Chanfeng Luo broke out in a cold sweat at the words, feeling secretly bitter. Why did that old guy, who never pursues anyone, insist on pursuing me of all people? He swallowed his fear and said, You've used great divine technique several dozen times already. Do you take great divine technique as plain rice or something? But as he was speaking, Lu Zhou transformed once again into the Calamity's Abyss Dharma body with only one ultimate move. With that, he controlled the overwhelming Dharma body like an eclipsing sky and pressed down immediately. In the cultivation world, those who can master the Dharma body are already rare, and they can be counted on one hand. Being able to achieve the 8 leaves Golden Lotus is even more remarkable, and can be considered the peak of power. Under the heavy pressure, Chanfeng Luo had no power to resist, and his mouth sprayed blood as his internal organs ruptured. At this moment, his heart was filled with a surge of emotions, rendering all his ultimate skills meaningless. Ah! The ground kept trembling with a loud bang. The Dharma body, wrapped within, descended with a howling wind, like a colossal mountain crashing down. After the smoke cleared, only to see Chanfeng Luo had turned into ashes with nothing left. After defeating the strong enemy, Lu Zhou found that there were only a few minutes left. There's no time to chase after the others now. Gotta deal with those few villains. Even if caught up, it's just killing a few more people. Once the effect of the experience card disappears, it would be disastrous. Complete the prerequisite task. The next task is to train the villain disciple to increase loyalty. Increase the loyalty of disciple Kite Ci to above 80%. and punish 3 villain disciples. Then Lu Zhou hurriedly returned to Golden Pavilion Mountain using the divine technique. At the moment he landed, the peak experience time had just ended. Feeling the disappearance of the energy within, Lu Zhou felt a bit lost. That powerful feeling is truly refreshing. I wonder how long it will take for me to reach that stage through my own cultivation. Who can he beat on his own now with his old bones? It's almost good enough for fraud. I want to be steady as an old dog, so I won't be seen through. With this in mind, he walked slowly towards several villain disciples. At this moment, the 3 of them knelt on the ground, trembling in fear. Their loyalty also showed varying degrees of recovery. However, it was still far from enough. Lu Zhou ignored the 3 people. He looked at the youngest disciple, Little Kite, and said, "Master is tired. Help me back." Upon hearing this, the 9th disciple immediately ran over joyfully. He supported him and left this place. Watching Shifu walk away, Mosheng Ren began to complain to the 4th disciple. "Old 4, you really caused me trouble." "What? Blaming me for this too?" "I carefully analyzed to confirm that Shifu was injured. Who knew it would turn out like this? I miscalculated a bit despite my best efforts." "That's a precise analysis. What did I overlook? Perhaps Shifu got tired of the old routine and wanted to try something new. Let's escape now." "Escape? How do you plan to escape when Shifu has shown such power?" "We are currently in the pavilion on the mountain." Lu Zhou took a sip of tea and said, "You may be wrong." Little Kite immediately knelt down after listening. Kite knew that he was wrong. He shouldn't have disobeyed the master's words. "Master, you have to believe that I have always been obedient." At this remark, Lu Zhou gave a light cough and said, "I am not talking about this matter. Leaving Golden Pavilion Mountain on your own and snatching the cultivation tomes from 2 major sects at the end of the year was also not right." The reason he asked this is that in Skypath Ji's memory, he did not find the motivation for Little Kite's actions. Disciple knows his mistake. The 4 senior brothers said that those who couldn't be described as members of the blacklist were not worthy of being the disciple of the Golden Pavilion Mountain. So I went there. Blacklist? Lu Zhou's face slightly changed upon hearing this. There was no such information in his memory either. Little Kite continued to explain. This is a ranking list established by cultivators. Everyone on the list is a cultivator who has committed numerous wrongdoings. Teacher, you are ranked first. Senior brother and senior sister are both in the top 30. Lu Zhou was speechless after hearing that, but then he sighed and said, "Come here, Kite. You are the disciple that I cherish the most. From now on, you must not do any more evil deeds. Do you understand?" The forgiven Little Kite was overjoyed. Then she ran behind him and started giving him a shoulder massage. Shortly after, Lu Zhou called the other 3 villain disciples up. At this moment, the loyalty levels above the heads of the 3 individuals have slightly increased, but are still very low. As long as I make any slight changes, they will revert back like wallflowers. The 5th disciple Lunalite first spoke up to beg for mercy. It was all the fault of a momentary confusion by disciple. Please beg Shifu for forgiveness. The other 2 people saw someone taking the lead. Mosheng Ren and Ren Ming followed closely behind. Disciple has been a member for 100 years. Even without merits, there is toil. Please, Shifu, consider disciple's diligence over the past 100 years and spare disciple's life. Lu Zhou stood with his hands behind his back. He sighed softly, not looking at them. After a while, he finally spoke up and asked what their ranking was on the blacklist. Mosheng Ren answered that they were ranked 18th, Ren Ming is ranked 25th, and Lunalite is ranked 28th. What a group of good disciples who have tarnished the reputation of their master. Upon hearing these words, the 3 individuals trembled in their hearts and quickly admitted their mistakes. At this moment, Lu Zhou suddenly changed the subject. "Since you know you were wrong, you must change. From now on, you must not continue to do evil. Can you promise to do so?" Although several people didn't quite understand, they still answered in unison. Yes, we will obey. At this moment, Master Lu Zhou stroked his beard. With a sigh he said, As a teacher, I have also made mistakes. The mistake lies in only teaching you cultivation, and not teaching you how to be a decent person. That's why I have raised such rebellious and unfilial disciples.
Lao San and Lao Si, now that the barrier of the Golden Pavilion Mountain has been broken, I will punish you by making you repair the barrier without taking a single step away.
It is very difficult to complete repairing the barrier within 8 or 10 years. However, compared to killing them, this punishment is definitely much better. Both of them naturally know this. They were immediately overjoyed and ecstatic. They quickly agreed to come down. Meanwhile, Lunalite's punishment was to go down the mountain to atone for her mistakes. Lunalite knelt on the ground, also not daring to argue. She just didn't know which sins to atone for. Lu Zhou did not make it clear. He then asked a few people if they knew what is good and what is evil. Little Kite first answered that benefiting others is good. Harming others is evil. Lao San said that doing good deeds and accumulating virtues is good. Killing and arson are both evil.
And Lao Si added that working for the country and the people is good, while aiding a tyrant in doing evil is evil.
Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou shook his head. Their answers were too hypocritical. Clearly not the response he was looking for. Then he pretended to be profound, saying 2 sentences, not seeking to be perfect in the eyes of others, but rather to be true to oneself. The 4 of them listened and instantly looked confused. A month ago, Sherfu also said, No matter who it is, if you kill someone just because you don't like them, can you still be true to yourself? Disciple understands. Disciple will definitely kill all those thugs who insult Sherfu. Lu Zhou was so angry after hearing Lunalite's response that even his beard crooked. He felt like he was talking to a brick wall the whole time. But he understood. It's hard to change people's perceptions in a short amount of time. Later, he asked Lunalite to stay on the mountain as well to help repair the barrier. What they have done before, Lu Zhou can overlook. But if they make the same mistake again in the future, there will be no leniency. Similarly, since they have entered Golden Pavilion Mountain as his disciples, he will protect them. The 4 of them quickly expressed their gratitude upon hearing this. Their loyalty had also increased significantly. Lu Zhou was very satisfied with the situation. The effects were indeed good under his combination of grace and authority. Following his orders, several people left here. He breathed a sigh of relief as he watched their retreating figures. Then, he opened the system panel. It showed that completing the task rewarded 200 merit points, which could be used for lucky draws. Every 50 points could be used for 1 draw, or they could be used to exchange items in the store, such as weapons and cultivation techniques. Even the powerful Dharma body is available. However, the prices are ridiculously high. Even the cheapest beginner-level option costs 300 points. So, he had no choice but to try his luck with the lucky draw system. He ended up drawing a reversal card. He didn't expect the winning rate to be so high. He was overjoyed instantly. He decided to save the rest to buy a Dharma body. After all, what he needs most now is to improve his cultivation stage. Then a mission update popped up on the screen, reminding him to train the 8th disciple, Great Flo Chu, and change the current situation. Lu Zhou was lost in thought when he saw this. The peak card can no longer be used casually. With his current cultivation level, the odds are definitely slim. He needs to plan carefully. The 3 villain disciples he keeps by his side are also a menace. The truth will eventually come out. Currently, only Little Kite is the most reliable, and also the most loyal. Her cultivation level is at the Divine Court stage. It couldn't be more suitable to keep her by his side. And at the same time, teach her the ways of the world. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And 1 more reversal card should be used first before anything else. With this in mind, he returned to the demonic Sky Pavilion. At the same time, at the stronghold of Fierce Tiger Ridge, The person who was sent to investigate Golden Pavilion Mountain has brought back news. However, they only saw a Dharma body. Great Flo Chu, who is known for being fierce and wicked, quickly asked, "What does the Dharma body look like?" The Dharma body is 10 zhang tall, 2 zhang wide, surrounded by golden light, with an 8-leaf golden lotus under the seat. Upon hearing this sentence, he fell from his seat instantly, his face turned extremely ugly, and his legs were trembling uncontrollably. He muttered to himself, "It's really Master, I'm done for this time." The demonic Sky Pavilion is located at the mountaintop, serving as the residence for Skypath Ji and the disciples. After Lu Zhou used the reversal card, his remaining life was restored to 613 days, and he became somewhat younger. However, his merits remained at 150 points, which was a negligible amount to pay attention to. He did not choose to cultivate Skypath Ji's cultivation technique in his mind, but instead decided to exchange for a new one from the system. In his view, a person who can commit such evil deeds to this extent, not only is it because of his character issues, but also intricately linked to the cultivation technique he cultivates. As he pondered, a voice requesting to see Little Kite came from outside. After receiving permission, she walked in. "Master, you look younger." Smooth talker. Lu Zhou raised his hand and lightly touched her head. Little Kite blinked her eyes, then let out a burst of colorful smoke. "Master is truly amazing. With just his own strength, he has forced back 10 top masters. Only you, the most powerful in the world today, can do this. You used to say that as long as one's strength is strong enough, they can kill whoever they want. Why didn't you kill senior brother and senior sister then?" Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou glanced at her. He didn't expect this little girl to have such dangerous thoughts. "Listen, forget all the principles I've taught you before. It's best to forget them completely." Little Kite mustered up the courage to reply, "I understand. But Sherfu, do you want to forget what you promised, disciple?" "Promise?" Lu Zhou was stunned when he heard this. Because he had crossed over to this old body, many memories were missing. Sherfu once said that as long as disciple reaches the divine court stage, he will bestow the jade dusting brush upon disciple. Although Lu Zhou does not remember the promise, he knows that this item is a celestial rank treasure. It can greatly enhance the power of a cultivator. But when he crossed over, all of Skypath Ji's items disappeared. Even if he wanted to give them, he couldn't. So he could only brazenly say, "Of course we need to forget about it," while looking at Little Kite's disappointed expression. He then quickly changed the subject and started talking about pancakes. "However, Master, I will give you another celestial rank treasure in the future." Little Kite's eyes lit up with joy at the words, showing a hopeful expression. She then, under Lu Zhou's orders, went down the mountain to deal with the prestigious Sect, the Righteous Path, hidden near Golden Pavilion Mountain. About 10 minutes later, a series of prompts sounded in Lu Zhou's ears. Killing a villain disciple would earn 10 merit points. He arranged it this way because he inadvertently discovered that as long as a disciple completes a task, the Sherfu can also earn merit points from the disciple. Half an hour passed quickly. His merit points have also accumulated to 300. Currently, he can purchase the Dharma body of Tai Chi beginner level. At the moment of his successful purchase, he suddenly felt waves of energy rushing into his body. He also stepped into the mystic comprehension stage from the body refining stage. In a moment, his body calmed down. He frowned as he looked at the panel. Because the next stage requires 1,000 merit points, it's really a huge pit. At this time, Little Kite has almost finished cleaning up. The merit points did not increase anymore. So Lu Zhou slowly got up, ready to stretch his muscles. But just at the moment, he stepped out the door. A figure wielding a sword like lightning instantly stabbed him in the back. Lu Zhou reacted and quickly looked back, only to see that it was Jifeng Zhou, the elder disciple of the Sky Sword Sect. Because of the passive skill, Fatal Block, he activated it and was unharmed. Jifeng Zhou, who thought he had succeeded, was stunned to see the other party unscathed. He mustered up his courage and closed in with another sword strike. But he still found it to be of no use. And Lu Zhou, with a furrowed brow, was staring at him. Then he coldly asked, "What the hell do you want to do?" And under the terrifying pressure I emitted, he was so scared that he nearly wet himself. Lu Zhou understood that he absolutely could not lose in terms of momentum. He snorted coldly, "Overestimating your abilities." Jifeng Zhou paused for a moment, held a determination to fight to the death, and charged forward again. "If you kill me, Shifu, even if I die, I will seek revenge." Just as the long sword was 0.01 centimeters away from his throat. Suddenly, a shout of, "Little kite," came from behind. "Who dares to sneak attack me, Shifu, without eyes?" With a bang, she directly took action, sending Jifeng Zhou flying into the distant wall. "Disciple wants to tear him apart into 8 pieces to help you vent your anger." Little Kite's eyes revealed a hint of killing intent as she spoke. But at this moment, she was stopped by Lu Zhou. Because he had just received the trigger. Hidden branch mission prompt. Persuade Jifeng Zhou. So he pondered for a moment, before slowly opening his mouth. "I killed you, master. You came to me for revenge, which is reasonable. But you are seeking death by underestimating yourself. What you did is pointless. You achieved body refining at the age of 8, entered mystic comprehension at 9, progressed to spirit condensation at 13, reached Dharma Ocean at 18, and entered divine court at 20. This is a rare genius in the cultivation world. You can definitely wait a few more years before seeking revenge. Why must you come to die now?" Jifeng Zhou felt a pang of regret upon hearing these words. Is it still possible to regret now? Little Kite looked disdainful at this and said, "This is considered a genius? Huh? Disciples started following you at the age of 10. This year, at 15, they entered the divine court. You are not allowed to interrupt randomly." Lu Zhou gave her a glare. Then he looked at Jifeng Zhou and said, "Do you know why I don't kill you? Do you truly think your master, Chanfeng Luo, is a gentleman? You are so young and ignorant. I knew Chanfeng Luo before you were even born." Upon hearing this, Jifeng Zhou widened his eyes and asked, "What do you mean?" "If I tell you that your father's killer is Chanfeng Luo, do you believe this?" He roared in anger upon hearing this. "You can't sow discord between us with such despicable tactics. It won't work on me." Lu Zhou saw this and shook his head. He continued, "I stayed at Family Zhang's place when I went to eat prefecture years ago. At that time, the young mistress of Family Jiang was in labor. Lu Zhou noticed the extraordinary talent of the child from Family Jiang, and thus had the intention of accepting him as a disciple. Therefore, I gave the couple from Family Jiang 3 days to consider. Whether they agreed or not, I would take the child with me. Unexpectedly, the very next day, the entire Family Jiang was massacred. I arrived too late. The cultivation world believed that I had slaughtered the entire Family Jiang, and I couldn't be bothered to explain. This led to the whole world of the righteous path thinking it was me. But no one knows that it was all done by Chanfeng Luo. There is a birthmark on your shoulder. When you were just born, you had internal dampness and coldness, and I reached out to help you. Your original surname is Jiang. That child of the Family Jiang is you." Jifeng Zhou was suddenly stunned by the words. Very few people knew about the birthmark. How did this old malevolent lord know about it? "I see that you are too young. If I tell you the whole truth, you may not be able to handle the pressure. It's better for you to leave." Upon hearing this, Jifeng Zhou still did not believe it. He shouted loudly and cursed him as an old malevolent lord. Little Kite's eyes immediately turned cold. "If you dare to disrespect my master again, believe it or not, I will chop you now." As soon as the words were spoken, Jifeng Zhou immediately closed his mouth. It seems that one cannot be too gentle with such people. With this in mind, Lu Zhou chuckled and said, "Your master Chanfeng Luo annihilated the Jiang family, insulted your mother, and took you away. Chanfeng Luo broke through the primordial spirit tribulation stage 30 years ago. This stage is divided into 3 major stages: Primordial Tao, Primordial Chaos, and Daoic Unity. Among them, in the Daoic Unity stage, there is a path of promotion. This so-called Daoic Unity is when a person can use a powerful cultivation level. Devouring another person's vital essence cultivation level combines the two into one. This Sky Sword sect has only your cultivation path. It is completely consistent with Chanfeng Luo. Do you think he has no problem? If you still don't believe, ask your senior mentor Little Kite to send him away after you return. Will Shifu just let him go like that? He attacked you. Impudence. A scolding scared Little Kite, making him stamp his feet. And then? She then dragged the still confused Jifeng Zhou towards the window. Stupid pig, does my Shifu need to lie to deceive you? Isn't it better for him to just kill you directly? He then said nothing. She directly threw him from the upstairs to the ground. And Jifeng Zhou was still muttering instinctively, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. The system prompts that the task of persuading Jifeng Zhou has not been completed. Lu Zhou looked helpless when he saw this. You are really a moron. Little Kite asked him in confusion at this time. Why didn't you kill the other party? Lu Zhou stood up with his hands behind his back and explained. Killing is not the only way to solve problems. But Shifu just told me to leave the mountain. I killed a lot of the righteous path cultivators. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou stroked his beard. Killing is not the only solution, but it's always one of the methods. Before he could finish speaking, he suddenly received a prompt from the system. Your disciple is doing evil deeds. The corresponding merit points will be deducted. What the heck? What else can the merit points be used for? This darn system is really pulling this kind of trick. He immediately had Little Kite go and call several disciples over. Before long, everyone had gathered in the room. Lu Zhou frowned and stared at them. Tell me, what were you all doing just now? Shireen Ming quickly replied. Disciple was following your instructions, patrolling near Golden Pavilion Mountain. We didn't do anything. Lu Zhou listened and said faintly, You should understand my temper. I dislike lying the most. Shireen Ming's face changed drastically and quickly apologized. Some hunters came to the southern mountain. How can they be allowed to hunt on Golden Pavilion Mountain? Disciple will go and eliminate them. He said this and then turned around to leave. But he was suddenly stopped in his tracks by a shout from Lu Zhou. The barrier at Golden Pavilion Mountain has not been repaired yet. It's normal for someone to trespass by mistake. Just drive them away. If you find someone with ulterior motives, then it won't be too late to take action. Disciple dutifully follows the master's orders. After the 3 people finished speaking, they glanced at each other and left the demonic Sky Pavilion. Although their gentle master made them feel very uncomfortable. But a fall into a pit, a gain in your wit. Perhaps master is trying out new techniques. They dare not disobey orders. Not long after, Lu Zhou, who was resting, heard the voice of the system. Saved 15 innocent lives. Rewarded 150 merit points, received worship from 14 people, rewarded 14 merit points, received sincere worship from 1 person, rewarded 10 merit points, and was reminded that sincere worship can earn a 10x bonus. Upon hearing this, Lu Zhou suddenly opened his eyes. Can it still be played like this? This darn system didn't give an early warning. Where is Little Kite? Go inform your senior brother and senior sister. The innocent must be treated kindly.